When I turn up to a lake, I actually look at the lake and I always think somewhere there's one feeding. I've just got to find it. And if I've got to get up a tree, climb through some reeds, look under fallen reeds, look in the weed, somewhere there's a carp and somewhere there's one feeding. The spots I pick are where I see the fish. But if I don't see the fish, I might look for, like, you know, a little bit of bottom that's glowing up, shows the fish have been using it regularly, or along the side of reeds next to lilies, just them little carpy areas that they like to sit around in. Create opportunities. Don't wait for it to come to you. You can create an opportunity just by walking around and looking. If I'm fishing lakes that are only 3 or 4 acres, I'll make a point, even if I'm driving there and I think, I know that swim's been good, I'll walk all the way around it, because you never know what's around the corner. It could be the big one, or like a couple of fish feeding, and you've had one swim in your mind, I've got a fish there, but you know, it only takes one walk round to realise where the fish are. Yeah, don't worry about it. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 laps of the lake, and there'll be a spot I've looked at 3 or 4 times, and suddenly there's fish on it. You know what I mean? They fan the bait, because they're moving all the time. Quite often I've seen a fish at one end of a lake, and less than an hour later, on a big water, I've seen it at the other end. They're mobile, and when they're using that kind of energy, which they are this time of year, they've got to replace it with food, so you've just got to seize the opportunities. You can make it easier for yourself by prepping spots. Like I said before, you only need 10 boilies. Prep the spot, keep an eye on it. If you don't prep the spot, the fish has got no reason to stop there, so it might be wandering up and down the margin. A little bit of bait on the spot's just going to hold him in the area with a chance of you seeing him. Take your time walking into a spot, walk in gently. Don't like just stamp your way into the swim, because they're going to hear you, because they're listening out, and all the vibrations and things like that. Just take your time getting into the spots. And when you're there and you've put the bait in, take care not to make too much noise, you know. Switch your phone on to silent, refrain from answering it, don't talk to people, just sit there nice and quiet. Everything's going to give you a little bit more chance, and all them 1% will make the 100. I wouldn't say I find stalking fun, it's graft, but when you get a good result off of it, you know, you feel like you've really worked for your fish, but you get a lot of satisfaction of when you've grafted for hours and you're being really quiet, sitting down low in the grass, and that rod goes and you get a result. It's really worth it, and it's the kind of fishing that you can do with 2 or 3 hours at your disposal. You wouldn't do it for 24 hours, you'd be in bits, but 2 or 3 hours you can afford to just sit behind a set of reeds waiting nice and patiently. Like, it's good fun as well. Mobility to me is travelling light, keeping your gear cut down, or even if you can't, keep it on the barra so that you can react to what you see. If you walk down one end and you see fish, you don't want to spend the next half hour packing up. You want to be there within minutes, really. A mobile angler to me is someone that reacts off of what they see, you know, and can react by having their gear so compact that they can move. So, like, if you're a static angler, you've got too much gear out, you see people with tellies and all that, they ain't going to be moving on to fish. I love them kind of anglers. Wind change, fish move down one end of the lake, he's packing up for 3 hours. I'm down there in 20 minutes, and that's how you got to be. They're not getting pressure in these areas, so they're used to just moseying on in, and if you bait them, like I said earlier, just trickle them. Sometimes I might bait a spot that I'm going to stalk a couple of days before, just to see if it's gone when I get there, like, and then when you fish it, you'll have a result really quick. If I see fish showing in open water, I'll just move around, rods on them. I won't go mad, I won't start spodding and all that, getting markers out, because I've found the fish, I don't want to spook them. Literally, I might scatter 50 or 60 baits in an area. I remember when I was fishing Walthamstow, doing 4 moves in a day and catching 4 fish. And without a doubt, if I hadn't moved from the first one, I would have caught 1 fish, because the fish moved on the wind. And these fish they were like 120, 140 yards out. I just watched them move and got in front of them every time. The key elements for food when I'm stalking or being mobile, I like a bright hook bait. I like something that's going to attract them quick. So if they're in an area and I'll drop a bait down quietly without them noticing, when they turn round they will notice it. I think the wind is important. This week we've had a lot of easterlies and the fish, they've not got on it so much, but this lake's got some small bays and they've tucked themselves in the lee of the wind, which has been nice and warm, the sun's got on it. I think you tend to fish areas that are overlooked by average anglers. They're overlooked because they can't get a bivvy in there, they can't get 3 rods in there, but you can, and like I said before, you'll waste an afternoon fishing there. And when we say waste, sometimes you don't waste. I've caught some really big fish fishing single rods in little holes and done it in 3 or 4 hours and been home that evening watching EastEnders, you know what I mean? So it's worth doing.